this is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
With no fees or minimums on checking accounts, it's no wonder the Capital One bank guy is so passionate about banking with Capital One. If he were here, he wouldn't just tell you about no fees or minimums. He'd also talk about how most Capital One cafes are open 7 days a week to assist with your banking needs. Yep, even on weekends. It's pretty much all he talks about, in a good way. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank. Capital One, N.A., member FDIC.
The NFL playoffs are here, and it all starts with Wild Card Weekend powered by Verizon.
Man, it all comes down to this.
12 teams, 6 games, 3 days, and one epic weekend.
My goodness!
It's win or go home, and every moment counts on the road to Super Bowl 60.
It's a touchdown!
Wild Card Weekend powered by Verizon. January 10th through 12th. Visit watch.nfl.com for the full schedule.
Brought to you by the reinvented 2012 Camry. It's ready. Are you? Welcome to Stuff You Should Know from HowStuffWorks.com.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh Clark. Chuck Bryant. Chuck. How's it going?
You can just call me Nikola.
Really? Okay. How about Chuck?
Yes.
All right. How are you doing, Chuck?
I'm good, dude. How are you?
I'm good. I'm juiced.
I'm much better than how you asked me 20 minutes ago when we recorded the other podcast.
No, that was
2 days, 3 days ago?
2 days from now.
Right.
Yeah.
It's magic.
It is magic. We'll have to reveal our secret one day. Like some sort of... We could dress up like Siegfried and Roy.
I get to be
and
Siegfried
just
this
sit there
time,
and tell everybody. Yeah.
Okay.
I owe it to you.
And Jerry is always just the white tiger.
Yeah. Yeah, nice one, Jerry. Chuck, I have a trivia question for you, beautiful.
Okay, hit me.
Why are the Los Angeles Dodgers named the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Bing.
Okay, Chuck?
I know the answer. Do you want me to say it or do you want to say it?
I want you to say it. I just asked you a question.
Because when they were in Brooklyn, their original spot, there were a lot of train trolley cars in Brooklyn at the time that had really dangerous electrical wiring that operated them. Mm-hmm. And people would dodge these electrical lines in these train cars, and so they called them the Brooklyn Trolley Dodgers initially.
Did they?
And then that shortened to the Brooklyn Dodgers, and then they the O'Malley family broke the hearts of Brooklyn and moved them to L.A.
I can't believe that still.
I know.
Who does that?
Did you ever see a documentary on HBO about the Brooklyn Dodgers?
No.
Oh, so good.
No, was it?
Yeah, I mean, there are people in Brooklyn today that have not watched a baseball game since the Brooklyn Dodgers moved. Their hearts were broken so badly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
Rip the heart out of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But actually, it wasn't. People might write in. There's been some follow-up, and O'Malley really tried his hardest to keep the team there, and there were some politics involved.
That greedy Sandy Koufax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But off topic.
A little bit, but not really.
Sure.
Not really. Because you can make a case that it was Thomas Alva Edison who gave the Brooklyn Dodgers their name.
Bring it home, baby.
Okay, I will. So by the time the Dodgers were formed in the 1880s, right, Edison had basically lit up parts of New York.
Yeah.
With his incandescent light bulb.
Big innovation.
It was huge, man. I mean, imagine going from like gaslight to electricity.
Yeah, I mean, I bet it blew people's minds back then.
Sure. I imagine so, especially when they touched one of those trolley lines.
Yeah, big time.
Sure. Okay, Edison was a visionary, a genius. Yeah. One can make the case.
Sure.
And an innovator. And he came up with what we know of as the modern harnessing of electricity.
Yeah.
Which, I should probably point out, electricity is not energy. It's an energy carrier.
Right. Direct current is what he was his big thing.
Right. Direct current is basically, not basically, it's where electricity, the electric charge is constant. It never changes.
And
so if you look at
one-directional.
It is. Mm-hmm. And if you look at it as like a line, it's just a straight line.
Right.
And Edison was pretty happy with his direct current inventions.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that you lose a lot of it to waste heat over long distances.
Yeah, well, basically, you can't really transport it over super long distances, they found out.
Right, okay. So that was kind of the drawback to it. Other than that, it was enormous. He lit up New York and arguably created what we know of today as light.
Right.
Right? But there was another way of looking at things, and that is the alternating current.
Yeah.
So Edison was super, super, super married to direct current. He just saw it. I think I read a quote of a river flowing gently to the sea. That's how we characterize direct current.
That will kill you if you touch it.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
An alternating current is if you, instead of that straight line of a charge or flow of electricity from one pole to the other, I think negative to positive, always. Alternating current looks like a sine wave, right? So it has a wavelength, and it actually goes back and forth from one pole to another, which is why it's called alternating.
Right.
And these days, it does so at about 60 cycles per second. So it changes direction 60 times in a second.
Right.
And it's very steady and reliable.
And actually, in those days, too. I think it's the same.
Yeah.
Which is one of the cool things.
Right. So here's the thing. We're talking about electricity here. What I think a lot of people overlook is that Edison was also quite a showman. And
great businessman.
Very, very much so.
Uh-huh.
As much a great businessman as a genius, right?
Yeah.
But he was also very stubborn, and he didn't think there was any way to improve or any need to improve upon direct current.
Right.
There's another guy whose name people might be familiar with, and his name was Nikola Tesla.
Not a great businessman.
No.
In fact, a very poor businessman, evidently.
He was, actually. He spent some time after he became a great inventor digging ditches just to try to make ends meet.
Yeah. Apparently he didn't. He did file for a lot of patents, but apparently he didn't do that nearly enough because a lot of his stuff was kind of stolen and kind of, nicked from.
Right. So, Chuck, we've got Edison on one side with DC, and we have Tesla on the other side with AC.
Yeah, that was his
sounds
little
like,
baby.
A couple of nerds going at it, but really, these two guys engaged in this very, very public rumble, and basically at stake was the infrastructure of the United States
and the world.
Exactly. Yes. This huge, massive
competition.
Sure. That just took place, and there was some crazy stuff that came out of it.
Yeah.
Lots of electrocutions, lots of nefariousness.
Oh yeah. God,
and we're not going to tell you who won yet, because a lot of people don't necessarily know what kind of electricity we use more than the other, DC or AC.
Support for this show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt, from renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year. You can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, buys one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like ETFs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/SYSK and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/SYSK. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing, Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors, LLC, SEC registered advisor. Generated Assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not an investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
The NFL playoffs are here, and it all starts with Wild Card Weekend powered by Verizon.
Man, it all comes down to this.
12 teams, 6 games, 3 days, and one epic weekend.
My goodness!
It's win or go home, and every moment counts on the road to Super Bowl 60.
It's a touchdown!
Wild Card Weekend powered by Verizon. January 10th through 12th. Visit watch.nfl.com for the full schedule.
So we're just going to pay this out, baby. This is just interesting.
So, Nikola Tesla, he was Austrian born, and he arrived in the United States in 1884 when he was just a young lad of 28. And a mere 3 years later, after being in the United States, he filed for a series of patents that basically outlined what you would need to make the alternating current work. So he made pretty quick work when he came over here to the States.
Right, he did.
Did you ever see The Prestige?
No.
Great movie.
I've heard.
David Bowie played Tesla in that movie.
Nice.
Yeah, very cool.
Did he do a good job?
Yeah.
Like Labyrinth quality job?
Oh, better.
Okay.
I thought so.
All right.
But just a little sidebar if you're interested in that kind of thing. But yeah, after reading this and then finding out that Tesla actually may have sort of invented the radio, even though Marconi gets credit for that, there's a lot of things that Tesla did. He's sort of the unsung inventor when you kind of look at all these little things.
Yeah, and again, like you made the point, I think you have to be a really good self-promoter.
Oh, big time.
As much an innovator.
Yeah.
Especially if you are an innovator, you need to be a self-promoter. You get lost out in the annals of history.
Especially back then.
Right. So, Chuck, let's talk about this. You said that he came to the States.
Yeah, from Austria.
At the age of 28 and filed some really important patents early on.
Mm-hmm.
And they were for his alternating current system. Right?
Yes, indeed.
Here's the huge advantage of alternating current. We were talking about how DC is a constant, steady output of electricity. Mm-hmm. And alternating current is all over the place, but it's also a steady output of power. The thing is because DC doesn't alternate, it loses a lot of energy to heat, and so it's not good for transporting at long distances, right? Mm-hmm. So Tesla came up with these patents for the generation of an alternating current. And a transformer, right?
Right. You've heard of these, and you probably don't know what they are.
Well, this is the key to alternating current.
Absolutely.
What you do is you generate this electricity, and you run it through a transformer, and with very little power loss, right? Mm-hmm. You can step it up to a tremendous voltage.
Right. Well, step it down in this case.
Well, no, you step it up first for long distance travel.
Oh, yeah.
So you're using less power to generate it.
Right.
But then you run it through this transformer, and all of a sudden, say 1,000 volts goes to like 500,000 volts.
Right.
So you can shoot that thing amazingly long distances without losing very much of the electricity involved in it. And then when it gets to, say, a neighborhood, after passing through, the desert or nowhere,
right,
very dangerously, when it gets to a neighborhood, it goes through another transformer, and then it gets stepped down.
That's what I was thinking about.
Right. And so since you've lost very little, and it's being stepped down easily without much power loss to this transformer, you can supply tons of homes with a single line.
Right. Like 120 volts, I think, is what you end up using out of, let's say, 1,000,000 volts that's on the line. Right,
sure. And it can also be, when it's stepped up voltage-wise, it can be stepped down, or it is inevitably stepped down in amplitude, which means that it requires less of a physically smaller line of copper, which also saves on cost because, you remember when the economic fallout was going on and people were stealing copper out of other people's cars and air conditioners because it was valuable?
Right.
It's expensive stuff,
doing that,
especially if you're talking about creating the infrastructure of an entire country.
Right.
So Tesla comes up with these patents and pretty much right then and there changes everything, again, except for the self-promotion part, right?
Right. He did his best work when he was able to hook up with people that were very good businessmen.
Right.
To back him.
Who did he hook up with that really changed everything?
So, Josh, you're talking about George Westinghouse.
Yes.
And I know you've heard of the Westinghouse Company, which probably means he did a pretty good job if you still know that name. He had an electric company, George did, and it was struggling to work out some details of a successful AC system. And then he heard about this famous lecture that Tesla gave in 1888. So he said, we should get this guy. And Tesla had a couple of financial backers named Peck and Brown. So they approached Westinghouse about commercializing Tesla's work. And at the time, he said, all right, sounds like a great idea. I'm going to give you guys $25,000 in cash and another $50,000 in notes and some royalties for the electricity that we create.
Right. Well, he gave him,
money.
I think, $2.50 for every horsepower that was sold through his invention by Westinghouse.
Well, I have a little modern conversion for you.
Let's hear it.
That $75,000 back then would be $1.8 million today.
Holy cow.
And that's not even counting the royalties.
Wow.
So this is a lot of dough.
It is.
So thankfully, with Peck and Brown's help, hooked him up with Westinghouse. Now Tesla has a viable situation going on here. And he can actually compete with Edison.
Right.
His nemesis. He worked for Edison.
He did. That was awesome. He went and worked for Edison, and there's legend that he went to Edison and said, look, I've got this alternating current idea.
It's really kind
Let's
of better.
Work it out together.
Years.
And Edison did not want to hear it.
Yeah, he was very, like you said, very stubborn. He was like, no, DC, buddy. Go make the DC better. Which he worked on that.
Yeah.
He tried to.
Right. So actually, yeah, the apparently Tesla eventually got so tired of Edison and his mule-headedness that he just said, you know what, I'm going off on my own. And I think that's when he started digging ditches.
Right. That's when he struggled before he eventually hooked up with Peck and Brown to give him some backing.
Right.
Support for the show comes from Public, the investing platform for those who take it seriously. On Public, you can build a multi-asset portfolio of stocks, bonds, options, crypto, and now generated assets, which allow you to turn any idea into an investable index with AI. It all starts with your prompt, from renewable energy companies with high free cash flow to semiconductor suppliers growing revenue over 20% year over year. You can literally type any prompt and put the AI to work. It screens thousands of stocks, builds a one-of-a-kind index, and lets you backtest it against the S&P 500. Then, you can invest in a few clicks. Generated assets are like EFTs with infinite possibilities, completely customizable and based on your thesis, not someone else's. Go to public.com/podcast and earn an uncapped 1% bonus when you transfer your portfolio. That's public.com/podcast. Paid for by Public Investing. Brokerage services by Open to the Public Investing, Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services by Public Advisors, LLC. SEC registered advisor. Generated assets is an interactive analysis tool. Output is for informational purposes only and is not investment recommendation or advice. Complete disclosures available at public.com/disclosures.
The NFL playoffs are here, and it all starts with Wild Card Weekend powered by Verizon.
Man, it all comes down to this.
12 teams, 6 games, 3 days, and one epic weekend.
My goodness!
It's win or go home, and every moment counts on the road to Super Bowl 60.
It's a touchdown!
Wild Card Weekend powered by Verizon. January 10th through 12th. Visit watch.nfl.com for the full schedule.
So that brings us back up to the current time. Well, not current as in now, but current back then. And he battled. Tesla sounds kind of like a little stubborn guy too, because he used to battle with the Westinghouse guys on the best way to do this. And eventually they settled on what we said before, which is a 3-phase, 60-cycle current that we still use today.
And you talked about that lecture that attracted some adherents to Tesla, including Westinghouse, right?
Yeah.
He started to get more and more publicity just because he had such a good idea, despite his terrible self-promotion.
Right, and showmanship.
Right.
There was a lot of that involved.
His idea was so good, and it was just so clearly superior to DC in the minds of some people that he couldn't help but get publicity. So as this started to develop, Edison engaged in an all-out public war.
Well, he got a little nervous, which is why he engaged in the war. In 1890, when this thing was kind of picking up steam and they were getting the 60 cycle thing worked out, that's when Edison was like, ew.
So what Edison decided to do was to prove to everybody that alternating current is just dangerous.
Yeah, that was his main focus.
And he did so by performing publicly executions on dogs, horses, and eventually he peaked, crescendoed, by electrocuting to death an elephant named Topsy in public. He did. That's pretty funny. There's nothing funnier than publicly electrocuting an elephant, right?
Right.
But it turns a little grim. Right? Have you heard of William Kemmler?
Well, I thought it was already grim. But yeah, sure.
Did you? You got to toughen up, Nancy.
Yeah, right.
William Kemmler was a convicted axe murderer. I looked him up. Actually, he was a convicted hatchet murderer who killed his girlfriend.
Okay.
And then very calmly went next door and said, "I just killed my girlfriend." Bada boom, bada bing. Not much of a trial later, he was sentenced to death. Mm-hmm. The thing about Kemmler was, he was going to be the first person in New York, and as far as I can tell, the first person in the United States who would be electrocuted to death rather than hung.
This is news to me.
I did some extra research.
Nice work. Buddy.
I heard electrocution. I'm like, I got to look more into this.
Right.
So Kemmler is going to be the first person in the electric chair, and he is on August 6, 1890. He has this date with destiny, and Tesla's invention. Apparently, they hadn't decided which way to go. Should it be DC? Should it be AC? And this guy who also used to publicly electrocute animals on behalf of Edison managed to finagle a used old Westinghouse AC generator to be used to get rid of Kemmler. And the execution was very public, and it was very horrible. Apparently, there were 25 witnesses. Most of them vomited. At least one fainted. I think one of the physicians that was attending to the guy ran out of the room, couldn't watch. They put 2,000 volts of juice through the guy for, I think, like 10, 12 seconds. He just turned totally rigid, apparently punctured his finger with his fingernail. It was bad, right? And then they stopped, and the doctors went over and looked at him, and he started breathing again.
Right.
And they shouted to throw the juice back on. They had to kill this guy because he was obviously in excruciating pain.
Right.
So they did it again, and they left it on for a minute. And apparently the generator didn't stop generating more and more voltage. So they have no idea how much they passed through this guy. Apparently sweat came out of his pores, or blood came out of his pores like sweat. He started to burn. And then finally, after a minute, they turned it off. The long shot of this is that it came out that this was an AC generator, albeit an old, beat-up one that shouldn't have been used in the first place. And William Kemmler was an actual casualty, a very brutal casualty in the war between Edison and Tesla.
Well, he should have thought about that before he took the hatchet to the girlfriend.
You know, I'll bet he would have thought twice had he known what his fate was going to be.
See, this would have had the opposite effect on me. Edison was saying, look how dangerous this is. If I would have seen that, I would have said, wow, that's the electricity that I want supplying power to my house.
The kind that makes blood come out of your pores?
Yeah, because, I mean, if it can do that, it can probably, light up your room.
Right, well, it certainly lit up William Kemmler.
So, they're in a public war.
A very public war now.
Edison is sweating it, and then in 1893, Westinghouse won the bid to light up the Chicago World's Fair, which was
the Columbian Exposition.
Yeah, a big deal and a big blow to Edison.
He did, and you know how he won the bid?
He undercut Edison.
GE had put in a bid for $1 million, which if 75,000 was 1.8 million, imagine how much $1 million was back then.
Yeah, a ton.
That was GE's bid, and by this time GE had assumed Edison's company.
Right.
Edison General Electric, I think is what it was called. So he was with GE now. They put in $1 million bid. Most of it was to cover the copper wire, because remember, to get electricity over long distances using DC, the copper wire has to be big.
Right.
You have to keep the amps up to keep the voltage up, so you lose less on the
copper.
far end, right?
Sure.
So just by using less copper, that alone, Westinghouse was able to put in a bid of $500,000, undercut them by half. So they got the rights to the Columbian Exposition, which was big. This was the turning point right here.
Yeah, I mean, the rest literally, as they say, is history, because that, Grover Cleveland flipped the switch, and 100,000 light bulbs lit up, and everyone said, boy, AC might be the way to go here.
That was it. Yeah, it was cheaper, it worked, and also apparently all over the fair were Tesla's inventions on display. So I think 27 million people visited the Chicago World's Fair that year, and every single one of them got to witness alternating current, which ultimately won. And even without the World's Fair, I mean, that really punctuated it, but just because it was efficient and economical. I mean, do you know how much you pay for a kilowatt hour of electricity now?
Not much.
No, it's like 10 cents tops.
Yeah.
And there's no telling how much it would be with DC. Plus also, I was thinking about this. You could make the argument that Tesla has saved tons of lives from electrical accidents that never took place.
Yeah, true.
Because if you have DC, you're not using transformers. You're not stepping it up or down.
Yeah, that's a lot of heat.
And you can't just send 500,000 volts into your electrical outlet. You know how many people die if we just gone with DC?
It would have never happened.
Maybe, maybe not.
Would have never happened. So a few years after that, Westinghouse built a hydroelectric plant at Niagara Falls, and all of a sudden Buffalo had power, and then that went on
New York City.
to power New York City.
They were just showing off by this time.
Yeah, and then, dude, it was all over. But don't feel too bad for Edison.
No.
Because we still use DC. We use both. We use DC in car batteries.
Yeah.
And locomotives. Some types of motors use DC, so it's not...
I would call those consolation prizes.
Yeah, sort of, the booby prize.
Yeah.
And you put AC and DC together, and you have one of the best rock bands in history.
So, Chuck, you want to talk a little more about Tesla? You know that he also had a vision. He never managed to do it, but he had a vision of wireless.
Yeah.
Like the wireless that we enjoy now, he was thinking about in like 1890.
Yeah, Josh, he met with J.P. Morgan, who was, as you know, one of the most powerful men on earth at the time.
Sure.
And he said, basically, I envision a world system of wireless communications to relay telephone messages across the ocean.
Not just telephone, I think music as well.
Broadcast news and music and stock market reports and private messages.
Exactly what we're doing now.
Dude, Tesla.
Yeah.
He was where it's at.
Sure. He basically just didn't have enough money. I think he probably could have done it had he had enough money. He was working on a tower, and it was very clear that he needed a lot more than the $150,000 Morgan kicked him.
Yeah.
And Morgan kind of lost interest. And it was Marconi, actually, who put the nail in that wireless coffin.
Yep.
Because he came up with the telegraph. It's like,
Sure.
the telegraph.
And the radio, which we already said Tesla kind of did a lot of work on the radio, too.
Yeah, apparently Tesla pointed out that Marconi used no less than 15 Tesla patents to create that wireless transmission of the S that made him so famous.
Right. My impression of Tesla is that he was just this uber genius who was so much into his own genius work that he didn't understand that it required self-promotion and business savvy and showmanship. And he didn't care about that stuff. So that's why he died alone in 1943 in New York.
Sad stuff, Chuck.
It is.
Not quite as sad as the fate of Topsy the Elephant or William Kemmler, but still very sad.
Agreed.
So, yeah, that was our awkward walk through the life of Nikola Tesla.
A little all over the place.
Did we ever say, well, yeah, he won out. Well, I guess we implied it. But yeah, today, even still, the power stations that generate power do them on the 60-cycle process.
Right. But everyone, if you ask your common person on the street, who invented electricity, they would say, oh, Edison.
And did you also know that the light bulbs, the incandescent light bulbs that he created, were 95% inefficient? I know.
What a hack.
All right,
Edison.
So that's Tesla, and Edison can rot.
Speaking of rocked, the band Tesla rocked. If we really didn't want to go there. Remember them?
Yeah, they didn't rock, though, is the thing.
Nah, they were terrible.
Okay, so Chuck, we just did that. Do you think it's time for listener mail?
Please, God, yes.
Please, indeed. Thank you.
So, Josh, I'm just going to call this Dreamy Listener Mail, and it's another dream. And just let me tell folks, I'm not getting into this. Please don't start sending me all your dreams.
And certainly don't send them in haiku form.
But this is a good one. This is sent to us from Ruth from England. And Ruth was backpacking around the United States in 2008.
Oh, I know where Ruth changed clothes.
And she said, congrats on your country, by the way, which I thought was kind of funny.
We're very proud of it, Ruth.
Yeah, we're going to take full credit for that.
Congrats on your country as well.
And she actually came through Atlanta with her friends. And this is kind of funny, she mistakenly thought they were going to Atlantic City. And so if you happen to see three very confused English girls in mid-September carrying backpacks looking for casinos, that was us. So that was kind of funny.
They ended up at the video poker machines in the Big H gas station.
Right. We should have introduced Ruth to the internet where she could have found out that she was about 1,000 miles off course. So Ruth writes in and says she had this dream when she was in her mid-20s, and here it is. I was a woman in my mid-20s with a very maternal and passive attitude on holiday on some kind of island resort. As the dream wore on, the atmosphere in this resort began to change. The reps became increasingly belligerent, and some of the holiday goers became edgy. Then followed a very detailed and structured experience of the island becoming a prison state. Apparent to my mind as a microcosm of an apocalyptic world, she became involved in a secret resistance movement led by a group of African Americans, and there were many interpersonal stories which I won't bore you with now. So she wrote it down in her travel diary. This is where it gets interesting. She wrote it down in her diary, and she told told this to a lot of different people because it was such a cool dream over the years. Mm-hmm. And when she returned to England, or I guess over her travels, she returned to England, she picked up a newspaper, flipped to the art section, and there was a Books of the Past column, a space devoted to rediscovering books that have gone out of publication. And there was an exact synopsis of her dream.
So she dreamt about a book she'd read before?
No, she'd never read it. A book was written by an Australian woman 80 years ago, was out of publication for decades, was not even popular at the time, and she had never read it. So she dreamt about an 80-year-old unpopular novel she had never read.
Weird.
Pretty cool.
Oh, it is pretty cool.
So that is from Ruth. She says you don't have to read this out, but heck.
It's a little late for that, Ruth.
We did anyway, and what you're talking about with her changing clothes, she says that when she went to the Atlanta Aquarium, she said, please say thank you to the troop of schoolgirls who had to see us wash brush our teeth, and change our clothes in the bathroom in the aquarium.
So Ruth thinks that Atlanta's Atlantic City, that Chuck and I founded America, and that we know the Girl Scouts that saw her change in the bathroom.
Right, and
I like this Ruth.
Yeah, and I guess she's possessed by the some 80-year-old Australian.
The demon
writer.
of an 80-year-old Australian.
Right. So Ruth, hats off to you. If you're ever in town again, look us up. We'll go out and get a pint together.
You're buying, Ruth. If you want to buy Chuck and me a pint, you can send us an email to stuffpodcast@howstuffworks.com.
For more on this and thousands of other topics, visit howstuffworks.com. Want more How Stuff Works? Check out our blogs on the howstuffworks.com homepage. Brought to you by the reinvented 2012 Camry. It's ready. Are you?
At CVS, it matters that we're not just in your community, but that we're part of it. It matters that we're here for you when you need us, day or night. And we want everyone to feel welcomed and rewarded. It matters that CVS is here to fill your prescriptions and here to fill your craving for a tasty and, healthy snack. At CVS, we're proud to serve your community because we believe where you get your medicine matters. So visit us at cvs.com or just come by our store. We can't wait to meet you. Store hours vary by location.
The NFL playoffs are here, and it all starts with Wild Card Weekend powered by Verizon.
Man, it all comes down to this.
12 teams, 6 games, 3 days, and 1 epic weekend.
My goodness!
It's win or go home, and every moment counts on the road to Super Bowl 60.
It's a touchdown!
Wild Card Weekend powered by Verizon. January 10th through 12th. Visit watch.nfl.com for the full schedule.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.